and welcome to the Quantum Empress. I am your host, Cristina Dranico, and I'm back in my living room. So welcome again. Thank you for the first viewers and followers. Thank you very much. You are making my day. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about knowledge and self-knowledge and how can that bring us power. And it also has to do with when you know yourself, you know your wounds, you have been through the hero's journey or a healing journey. I will talk about that in another time. But some of you might know Joseph Campbell and the hero's journey. And we women have also another version, which is the heroine's journey. But I'm not gonna talk about that right now. Right now I'm gonna talk about this fundamental self-knowledge that gives us, first of all, a lot of inner healing, inner peace, inner integration, and therefore inner power. You know, every time I talk about women's power and feminine power, I bring it to our core, and I will say that there are 3 points of power in women. One is the woman's heart. The other is her solar plexus that has been very damaged over the millennials, and the inner, the sacred space. And we do hold a lot of memories and cellular memories in all those points. Now, why do I say that is power? It is power because when we know our wounds, when we know our shadow, we also know what triggers us. And the more we know and the more we try to manage it, we can stop our reaction before it comes out. You know, it's sort of, we acknowledge, we take a second, and then we choose how do we react. Not be surprised because my son is here, so you will see him passing behind us. Now, that is also part of me being a working mom, and he's also a YouTuber. So if you have 11-year-old kids or 12-year-old kids, you can watch. What is the name? The pickle ice cream, something like that. So, anyways, when we sorry for the distraction, but that is also my reality. I am a working mom. So when we start knowing ourselves and start knowing not only who we are, but also where we come from, our ancestral information is very important. Now, what happens nowadays? We live in a very individualistic society. We have the bonds of our tribal basics have been broken. We have been a little bit alienated in the city. We have lost connection many times with our family, and that gives us the inner feeling that we are alone. And what we do when we are alone, we seek company, and many times that company is not the best company. So when we start knowing ourselves and where we come from, you have to understand that where we come from is a little bit like a programming. You know, we are the PC, and we have all these programs that comes from the right side through our masculine programming, and the left side our feminine programming, from the families of our father and the families of our mother. And it is inside of us, it is marked as our DNA, like the color of our eyes, our hair, etc., etc. Now, it is something that is pretty much, how can I say, a little bit superficially treated. Yet, our families will, and where we come from, will determine through unconscious bonds, through ancestral unconscious loyalties, who we are gonna choose as our partners, who are we attracted to, and why. And that's why our partners tend to, how can I say, they tend to recreate some of the pattern, and then they tend to serve our system to compensate a movement. Now, I work a lot in the systemic field, also with family constellations, individual and group. Well, now the groups cannot be done, and I do that because it was my journey of healing. I cannot teach anything that I haven't passed through or experienced. And when I discovered, I was randomly trying to basically to heal the pain I felt inside, to heal the outrage or outbursts of rage, to heal my constant impulsiveness towards a movement that I didn't totally understand, to heal the way I was fractioned between my mind and my body and my feelings. And I came across a system or a course given in Uruguay by Verónica Correa in Spanish, which is called Transforming Your Universe. And what it did is, through a process of step by step, we went deeply, and through using family constellations as a tool and the Gestalt approach to inner discovery, I was able to transform myself. And later, of course, life takes you in other directions, and I decided to come to Barcelona and to study that, among other technicalities like NLP and Ericksonian trance and therapeutic narrative, etc., etc. So what I discovered in this healing journey, and as you know, I've been single for the last 6 years already, a little bit more even. I discovered that after 2 marriages, I wanted to enter another type of relationship. I knew, and I still know, I'm gonna see how I'm dancing now with the Divine Masculine. I'm gonna see if I reach the end of the CD, but I knew deep inside of me that there is not only one, there might be several soulmates, but the soulmate journey needed me to start healing. Because if you want to be loved, you need to be loved. If you want gentleness, you need to be gentle. If you want someone to nurture you, how are you nurturing yourself? So we get from the outside what we are already in our inside. And I go for deep connections. I am intense, I cannot escape that. So I go for deep connections. I want a connection that is in the 4 levels. An emotional connection, a physical connection, an intellectual connection, and a spiritual connection. Because if I start talking about fairies and angels and the other person, talk about mechanics, I don't think it will be right for me. Yes, I do like to have deep conversations with men, and if that doesn't come in the package, I am sorry. It's not gonna last, I mean, I can have a fun night, but it's not gonna last. So in that inner journey, towards healing myself, you know, I was going to all these, whatever, tarot readers, astrologers, like, when am I gonna meet him? When am I gonna meet him? And all the time it came to the same. When you heal yourself and you are, you know, reaching that point of loving yourself and taking yourself with everything that you've got, another person is gonna come and not to fulfill you, but just, that is the idea, is meeting another soul to create something bigger. An intimate communion is something amazing. Connecting with someone deep inside is amazing, but for that we do need to know ourselves. We do need to know our boundaries. We do need to know who we are and which are the programs that come from the people behind us. So in all this journey, I did this, I came across also other people in which I was telling, you know, just simply telling about this information, how much we carry from our ancestors, how we carry the wounds of the masculine and the feminine side, because it's not only the feminine that got wounded by this patriarch and this unbalanced power play like this, because it's the masculine. So it's also the masculine, the sensitive masculine has been incredibly damaged in the history of humankind, in the history of relationships. So being able to take the man with its own vulnerabilities is as important as to take ourselves with our own vulnerabilities. And like Brené Brown likes to say, there is a lot of power in our vulnerability. So that said, I started to talk with people, and they say like, well, where do I start? How do I start? And the first thing I say is, you start with an intention for healing, an intention for openness, and an intention to meet your soul inside of you, to allow your soul to come towards you, but also allowing the other soul to approach you. We have so many barriers and we defend ourselves so much from the other person that we look at men like enemies. And actually, if we put our armor on the side and they put their armor on the side, we can see that we can be amazing complements of each other, even when we have a lot of differences. Like, for example, I am very messy. You see me here, but this is just a square, but I am very messy. I am unorganized, messy, chaotic. And of course, the person that I am attracted to, he is extremely neat and organized and a little bit OCD. But I mean, you know what I mean. We can have the things. The person can be very on earth, and we can be more the emotional vessel. You know, those sort of things. Well, I don't know. So yeah, we can complement each other, and there are going to be spaces in which you're going to share. But in order for a relationship to work, you do need to have your both spaces to grow, to be challenged, to be set out of the comfort zone in order to be to enter this dance. I have to come back. I didn't go with script, and then now we get organized. We get chaotic. So what I wanted to say is that by revisiting my story, you say like, where do you start? With that intention. We start the intention that at the end of the day, we would like to heal and we would like to dance a dance with another partner, the dance of life, right? That is the first point. The second point is that you start with you. I know that today, let me take care of you. No. First, you take care of your fucking self, right? You become responsible for your own well-being. I'm gonna be tough here. You are gonna become responsible for your own nurturing, for your own development, for your own financial situation, for your job. Because until you don't have your own life, it's gonna be too hard for the other person to sustain that. Yeah? So, and actually, you will have to start requesting the other person to also take care of his side. You know, his emotion, his inner digging, his own knowledge. And I think it's my personal position here. But you start by placing yourself in a point. And from there, you start looking, turning backwards and look what you brought into here. Remember, a relationship is 50% responsibility of each of the parties. There is no blame, responsibility, right? And what are we responsible for? We are responsible for ourselves and what do we bring into the relationship. And many times we bring and we carry the stories of our ancestors. So, from your standpoint, you create a genealogical tree. And believe me, it's an amazing journey. An amazing journey. Because the genealogical tree unveils a lot of the hidden stories that are needed for your healing. Right? You're gonna discover how much in common you have with these people that you have met in this earthly experience. And I don't say it's gonna be a bed of roses. There is a lot of pain that we carry from our ancestors. And why do I put it through this, The Secret to Your Soulmate? Because I do think that more people need to know the healing power of a genealogical tree. The healing power that we already have within ourselves. The resilience. If we are here today, it's because we are the successful stories of those that came behind us. So let's take that strength and let's try not to repeat the story. Let's try to ask for permission for a good life, for a good partner, for an harmonious family. Those are all possibilities and probable futures that are opening for us. But for that, we have to revisit the story that we carry. We have to give back what doesn't serve us. We carry stories that are not from only from us, right? That grandmother that was the lover of another guy, and suddenly I am only attracted to married guys. Is it me? Or maybe I'm carrying something that was not resolved. Because maybe in the system, we need to integrate that grandmother that socially was seen as the whore or as a lover and was pushed away. We integrate her with love, with compassion, honoring her destiny. That is a life she could live the best she could. And then we release that. We don't have to carry that. We ask for the permission that we can have a good marriage. You understand? So I come from heavy stories, many stories of war, of migration, of hunger. That's why I have so much food in my kitchen, of deprivation, of sacrifice, of slavery. My father was taken by the Germans to work to a forced work camp in Austria, from Ukraine to Austria. So, and those stories will mark us will define us in incredible ways. But instead of me taking, when I look at the story of my father, for example, I look at his story, I see that he survived, because if I'm alive here, he survived. Instead of pushing the war away, I say yes to the war. Why I say yes to the war? Because if it wouldn't be for that war and the consequences, my father wouldn't have come to Argentina, he wouldn't have been my mother, and this version of me wouldn't have been born. So we start making internal peace with all these situations. Plus, thanks to that, my father came with a tremendous amount of resilience and survival skills that I can take with me. And those are the treasures I carry with me. And I leave the other stories with them. So, in this book, The Secret to Your Soulmate, I'm trying to take you through that dance of the genealogical tree, to take you to the stories, to start questioning those stories, right? To start questioning beyond if you have the green eyes of your grandfather or not, to questioning the stories that come with them, and by that you start questioning your own story. In that book, we not only look at our ancestors, but we also look at our former partners. What do we have? What do they have in common with our system? What do they compensate? Amazing similarities you will find. Will be very interesting. And how to say properly goodbye. Remember, your ex-partner has also been your own teacher. Thanks also to him, this version of you is this version of you. So when you honor him, you are honoring yourself, because at a certain point you have yourself has chosen him. And if you're still angry, start looking at why. Start questioning. You'll never have a perfect relationship with your ex, that's why he's your ex. But you can have a very good relationship for your kids. You can pass that for your kids. You can diminish the level of conflict. Again, relationships, they will never be perfect, but you can diminish the level of conflict. And the last part is that we can start playing, thinking, dreaming on which partner, which sort of relationship we would like to have with someone. And we start being open to that. So I'm gonna leave the link for the book. You're gonna see some images coming. And I would love to hear your comments. And if you would like me to write a little bit more about how families affect us, about our systems, and I will gladly talk about that. I am very grateful that you're here, that you stay till the end. And on Thursday we're gonna have another tarot reading, and I see you next Thursdays on here, the Quantum Empress. Love and blessings from Barcelona.